Hey, we're back at the New York Auto Show. I'm with a really cool guest right now. We're going to talk some serious hardcore racing with Ricky Taylor of Wind Taylor Racing. We've got him, and we're going to talk about the LMP car he's got now, and going from the vet last year, from the prototype, well, the GT car basically, to a Le Mans prototype car. So, Ricky, you guys are kicking butt this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, last year we had the Corvette Daytona prototype, and although it had prototype in the name, we thought we were racing prototypes, but after driving this new Cadillac DPI VR, we've learned what a proper prototype really feels like.
There's something about getting in a car that's like 38 inches tall.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you look at it from the outside, you think, how am I going to get my whole body in there?
Yeah, because you're a tall guy too.
Yeah, I'm 6 foot, my brother's 6 foot as well.
Right.
And, they've made it, they say, to fit somebody up to about 6'3" or 6'4".
So TK could drive it.
Yeah, he could squeeze in there.
Yeah, he was actually trying to be here at the auto show. But wow, that'd be fun. I mean, the last time he was in a prototype was the Intrepid, and that was a bad day.
He might fit. Yeah. He might appreciate a proper monocoque these days.
So let's explain the difference between the Corvette and this car.
Okay. Yeah.
The Corvette's based on a production car, but that's been totally redesigned for racing.
Yeah.
But it's still based on the Corvette C7, right?
So the GT car that we raced at Le Mans last year that still races in IMSA is based on the road car.
Right.
But our Corvette Daytona prototype last year was a prototype.
Okay.
With the body styling to resemble a Corvette C7.
Okay.
Also had a V8 LS-based engine, where this year we've gone to, or where last year it was a tube frame chassis and everything. It was kind of a GT car.
Okay.
They put a diffuser on and everything to try to keep up with the P2
but there
cars
weren't
last
any
year.
tunnels or.
But this year, yeah, like you said, we've got tunnels, carbon monocoque, torsion bars in the front, springs in the back. Just makes tons of downforce.
Yep.
So it's been a big learning curve to appreciate what 2 millimeters of rake or ride height change will do. Where last year you could change it an inch, you hardly felt the difference. But this year, with how sensitive they are on aerodynamics, it's been a big learning curve for the drivers and the engineers.
So, and you were saying that your torsion bar on the front end, and they're kind of buried to get to. So you're doing most of your tuning in the back, and probably most of your aero tuning is via rake.
Yeah, we do a lot with rake for aero. The cars are very adjustable. We've got probably 6 or 7 different adjustments on the front. Where you can change dive planes, flicks on the wheels, splitter angle of attack, little barge boards outside the wheel exits. Then you've got the rear wing, wickers, all sorts of stuff. So the cars are really adjustable. And, when you go to Daytona, you're full trimmed out as you can be.
Right.
But then when you go to somewhere like Laguna Seca or Long Beach, you just pack on the downforce. And then it drives itself. Yeah.
So what's the difference, say, in corner entry from the Corvette to this new car?
So like a good reference corner, I guess, would be turn 1 at Sebring. Everybody talks about turn 1 at Sebring.
Big, long turn.
Fast entry.
Fast entry, bumpy as hell on the apex.
Exactly.
Pushes out.
Yeah, you expect the bumps would upset a car that's as stiff as ours.
Right.
But with the Corvette DP, it was kind of a medium pressure brake, down 2 gears, back to power at the apex. But now it's just as light as you can on the brakes. Even a little bit left foot brake where
it's more of a trim balance.
Yeah, it's more just kind of getting the weight onto the nose a little bit. You're not braking to slow the car down. You're braking just to give the front some grip. And it really, like, for how stiff it is, it takes the bumps really well. And there's that one bump right at the apex, which upsets any car.
Yep.
But the car I think our minimum speed there is about 130 miles an hour, or 120 miles an hour.
So that's probably a good 26, 29, maybe 30 mile an hour faster than the Vet?
Yeah, it was, it was a lot. It took a lot to work up to.
That's huge, that's probably your first 10 laps. It was like, everybody's like, why are you braking so soon?
Exactly, yeah. Get off the brake, get off the brake. And it's a mental thing at that point. But when a couple of years ago,
all of a sudden the little voice is going, stop!
Yeah, exactly. You got to get that silenced.
Exactly.
But every time you get to the apex and you leave, 10 10 feet on the exit, you're like, okay, maybe I can carry more speed,
Right.
more speed, more speed, and
Right.
it's tough that.
So, and then, this is going to be kind of technical for a lot of people. So, your transition at the apex to your track out, when you're unwinding the steering, you're going back to power. Tell everybody what the downforce feels like, of what the downforce is doing from the Corvette, which was a diffuser car, to this car, which is a tunnel car.
Yeah. I mean, downforce.
A tunnel car means there's two Venturi tunnels underneath the car, creating a low pressure and making the atmosphere push down on the body of the car, pushing it to the track.
Exactly.
The Corvette doesn't benefit from that much of a pressure differential.
Yeah.
As this car does.
Yeah, like you said, most of the downforce is made on the bottom side of the car.
Right.
And it's, the thing about our car is it's so efficient. And no matter how many changes they make to try to slow us down, efficiency is still going to win races. And the thing with downforce is it's all about trust. And when we had Jeff Gordon come into the team for Daytona 24 Hour, he had to learn to trust.
He did the tattoo.
Yeah, he did, exactly. But he had to learn to trust the downforce, because coming from NASCAR,
right.
They hardly make any downforce. And
people don't realize those cars are actually sliding a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
At 200.
They're sideways at every racetrack.
Yeah.
So it's a big trust thing, and the faster you go, the more downforce it's going to make. So when we were talking about kind of the pitch of the car and things like that, the less you brake, the less the car's going to pitch, the more comfortable it's going to feel. If you're on the brakes and the car's on the nose,
right.
the rear feels very light and it moves around a lot. So the faster you go, the more comfortable it is, which is definitely a mental battle.
This was always the thing that I had to wrap my head around. The steering on a tunnel car is very different than the steering on a flat bottom car, because it's pretty much you turn in and you're kind of committed to what radius you're gonna carry at that point in the tunnel car.
Yeah.
Whereas the flat bottom car, it's like you turn in and it's going to slide.
Yeah.
You're going to start now dancing with the throttle and stuff like that. How much aero braking happens when you lift the throttle in the new car versus the Corvette?
Well, like we were saying with efficiency and like how, most of the downforce is made on the underside of the car. Like what a lot of manufacturers do when they go, instead of wind tunnel testing, they'll do what's called coast down testing. They go to a big straight track, and they'll take the car to 150 miles an hour.
In Pennsylvania?
Exactly, just like that. That doesn't exist, does it?
No, it doesn't.
But then they'll lift off, they'll go to neutral, and they'll coast. And basically, if they've made a draggy change to the car, it'll decelerate faster. And if maybe they've made a good change, it'll slow down slower
than an F1 car. Because an F1 car, when you come off the throttle, I think. If they're doing 200 miles an hour, it's like 2.5 G braking.
Yeah.
Because of the wings.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah.
But our car, since it's all made on the bottom of the car, when you lift it, it hardly slows down.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because we did a little bit of coast down testing, and he's like, okay, go from 150 to 110. I didn't know if I had enough racetrack to slow down.
So the crazy thing is, almost in a way, driving your car is getting almost back to like, I'm going to date myself how old I am. It's almost like driving an old 510, old BRE 510, it becomes a momentum machine.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, the less I can brake.
Exactly.
And, the better I can get through the turns, and I don't have to, because I didn't have the power to rely on.
Yeah.
You've got the power, but you're still treating it as a momentum machine.
Yeah. And what we've actually started to do is, in the engine calibration, we've created for certain corners, you can do it distance-based. So for turn 1 at Sebring, where you're trying to get off the brake and not slow the car too much, we can actually crack the throttle open through the ECU. So the car doesn't quite slow down as much, because when you're off both pedals, it's still slowing down.
Right.
But we just want to reduce that a little bit, to kind of take it out of the driver's mind.
Yep.
So we don't have to crack the throttle, and it just kind of does it for us.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things about going electronic now, is now you actually have pedal tuning on
the
car. And maybe your brother has a different driving style and likes a pedal setup differently than you.
Change that map.
Change it on the map.
Yeah, exactly.
Which a lot of people don't know about or don't understand that you can do that.
Yeah.
How much electronic control do you have in the car? I mean, are you able to change your brake assist? You're probably driving the balance bar electrically.
Yeah, we do the balance bar is still mechanical. That's probably the only mechanical thing left. Yeah, which would be great because F1 and LMP1 still has it electronically, but we're still mechanical.
Because, well, then at that point you could actually write it into the data in the corner, and you could drive the balance.
Complicated, yeah.
Well, I don't know if it gets complicated, but then that becomes a driver aid. And I could
that's true.
I could see going, no driver aid.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because now we have traction control,
right,
which is our only driver aid at the moment.
Now, is it full traction control, or is it like the like Patrick's car, which is just the blue lights?
Oh no, it is
traction lights. So you're getting the control.
Yeah, so we do a
lot.
Like
the Porsches, the GT3s are just you're getting the lights telling you, hey, you're overslip.
No, we actually have traction control in the ECU, which we tune with Cadillac, and we've got knobs on the dash where we'll adjust it from there, more fine-tuning stuff, so we can change the slip and the gain target. So basically how much it allows you to yaw and how much cut it actually has.
So it's almost like you're actually able to actively change the ramps in the diff.
I guess it would, you could interpret it like that, yeah.
For both the acceleration and the overrun.
Yeah.
So you can start changing the diff lock up almost like that. Interesting. Because that's like how, what was it, 20 years ago when Ferrari had these massive launches and nobody could figure out what they were doing. Okay. And they were hydraulically ramming on the rear end. They didn't have a clutch in the car anymore. They were basically just changing the preload on the diff hydraulically.
Okay, so just locking it up.
Yeah, and locking it up.
Cool.
That's how they were launching.
Wow.
And then they got outlawed.
Yeah.
But so, all right, you have your driving style.
Yeah.
Your brother has his driving style. Mm-hmm. Is that a dash change? Is that when you plug in your driver identification
we would have to
plug?
Change those things. Normally, he likes more TC than I do.
Mm-hmm.
For example,
he's a little hammier on the throttle.
Yeah, well, he likes it. He likes just to go.
He likes to match and go.
I have trouble getting that through my head, and I still like to modulate a little bit with my foot. I don't know if it's just the qualifying mentality sometimes.
Right.
Because you feel like you're going faster, although the computer's going to do way better job than I will ever do, which I don't know if it's my fault or not. But
or it's just you going, hey, I did pretty good that one.
Yeah, exactly.
The computer didn't have to intervene so much.
Yeah. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's pride. And then brake bias, we normally like the same thing. We can change dash pages. When Max drove with us at Daytona, he wanted the dash page with really big numbers because he couldn't see anything. But we can change all that stuff.
So we used to, when I was working with Patrick Lindsay on the touring car, we had the dash programmed that if his deltas were wrong, it came up and it just said no banana.
Oh, really?
Because the joke is if the monkey does good, the monkey gets a banana. And it would just come up, no banana on the dash.
Oh, that's good.
And he would go, no banana.
we have something similar, since now we have a Cosworth dash, which you can program almost anything. If you press the wrong button, so say that button does something that the ECU doesn't recognize, it'll just come up Max's face with like a finger like this. It'll say wrong button.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how many adjustable controls and buttons do you guys have on the steering wheel now?
So we have 2 TC knobs, 2 kind of engine mapping knobs, brake bias, things like that.
TC knobs are for probably what? A
slip and gain.
Slip and gain,
yeah. So how much cut and how much, how early.
Okay, so you can change those independently.
Yeah.
They're not.
Which last year that wasn't allowed through the rules. So now we can change those independently.
So what's the mindset on learning to drive that?
Normally we've been leaning towards more like a lot of slip so it catches the car sooner, and lower on the gain so it's not trying to get the car to target as quickly.
Okay.
So it kind of corrects you more gently.
Yeah, and that just gives a little bit of insight of just how much the engineers are looking over your shoulder.
I know,
when you say get to target.
All this, I wouldn't have understood any of those terminologies before last year when we had lots of TC stuff, but they'll also watch over telemetry if we're complaining of something and they see that, say, our roll bars or the TC isn't in a place where it could help us, they'll tell us, okay, go try that.
You have live adjustable roll bar in the car?
Yes. Yeah, so we've got, those are both mechanical as well.
Okay.
So if we're complaining of oversteer and we've got the rear bar full stiff, they might recommend us make a change.
Yeah. How much does the car change under fuel load?
This year, not so much.
Whereas last year,
because the fuel cell's in the middle.
bunch.
Yeah, it did.
So that's probably another learning experience to wrap your head around.
Yeah, which is nice because basically the car just goes faster, which is you can brake later, the car accelerates better, but you maintain the same handling characteristics.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the mindset of the endurance driver, because it's not a sprint race.
Yeah.
And you got to be racing for the long game now. You know, are you generally the type that allows the race to come to you, or do you want to be on the attack? How's your brother in that? You know, so which driver do you want in the car at what time?
Yeah. I mean, for me, there's only one stint in the year that I'm not wanting to attack, and that's the first one of the Daytona 24-hour.
Right.
Because nobody wants to crash in that stint.
Nope.
But other than that,
that's the goat stint.
Yeah. The way our races have gone in Daytona and Sebring, they're so demanding. You have to be pushing so hard for so long that you're always having to attack.
Yep.
And
there's never any time to relax. I mean, you know, the 2 a.m. stupids happen, and you got to be on your toes.
Yeah. I mean, people are always doing crazy things, and you have to be ready for it. I mean, this year at Daytona, the number 5 car, another one of the Cadillacs in the rain, had a couple of little issues, and we got a lap on them. And we were pushing as hard as we could because we wanted to put them 2 laps down because it's way harder to get a lap back when you're 2 down.
Yep.
And like, if we were in that position, nobody's going to give you an inch. So you always have to be on it for sure.
Right. And the hard thing at Daytona is you know, you're in a car that is just whistling along, and there's 3 other classes below you. Yeah. And, you know, the relative closing speed is, you know, the equivalent of some guy in a Volkswagen Beetle, you know, and you're in an AMG Hammer on the highway, which makes it a little interesting, especially going to the bus stop.
And some of the drivers that are out there they do one race a year. They want to do the Daytona 24-hour.
That's one of the beauties of IMSA. You know, you've got the gentleman racer and you've got the pro racer, both on the track at the same time.
Yeah.
Which
it makes it very interesting.
Yeah, who was it last year that had the really bad time with the? It was. It happened coming back onto the oval, and there was
one of the TRG cars had a crash with somebody coming back onto the track.
That's it.
Yeah, I can't remember who that was.
And it was just like,
Yeah, I think they were leading in their class.
They were leading their class. It was a back marker had spun, and he got excited.
Those are the kind of things you have to be ready for.
Didn't look left and right before he got back on the racetrack, and you know, just clawed it out. And I forget who it was, but
I can't remember either.
Yeah, I remember talking to him on Facebook. And he was like, "Yeah, not a good day."
Yeah.
It was Andy. It was Andy Lally.
It might have been.
Yeah, it
might
have
been. Yeah. Okay.
And you know, he's a gentleman, but he was not a gentleman at that moment. He was a little upset.
Yeah, they'll test you.
Yeah, but no, continued success, man. I mean,
thank you very
much.
Have
a great campaign, and
thank you.
What are you guys doing Le Mans this year?
We will. Hopefully, Jordan will be back with Corvette Racing.
Okay.
They haven't announced their driver lineups yet, but I'll be in an LMP2 car with Jerome Bleekemolen and Ben Keating.
Fantastic. Now, you've been to Le Mans before.
Yes.
Yeah. And how do you like racing there?
Le Mans is one of a kind. It's super special. I think that's one left on the list that I would kill for. So I can't wait to go back and try again.
You've already got the Rolex, so.
Yeah, that was. I mean, we'd had such a good car there every year that to finally win it was amazing.
No, and you guys have worked hard, and it's been fun watching you and your brother progress over the years. Because I've been watching everybody because of my involvement with 73 and Patrick and Patrick's career. So it's a lot of fun and continued success to you guys.
Thank you very much.